Disclosure, obviously, is that Parsley was started by your son, and he's also chairman. Because of that, you were taken out of the merger talks. But I wonder if you could still give perspective for Pioneer of why now? A lot of why people love Pioneer is that they didn't need any other assets. They could just develop what they actually had.
Yes, good morning, Alix. Always great to be on your show. It's really about bringing the two best Permian companies together. As you know, Parsley Energy's acreage is very contiguous to Pioneer's, and it's really creating in my opinion, the only Permian powerhouse that's investable today. For shareholders today, will be the largest Permian independent player. Timing is good, essentially because the oil price has stabilized around $40, and I'm still very optimistic about oil prices getting back to 50 sometime second half of 2021.
Can you give me some insight if you guys looked at any other company?
No, we have not. We've only looked at Parsley over the last few weeks. It's so contiguous, so it's so easy. It's very accretive on all metrics, free cash flow, return on capital employed to our shareholder base. And it was done at a very, very low premium, about 7.9%.
Scott, good morning. You said on the call that all the best assets have now been basically taken over the last few weeks. Are you done? Yes,
we are done. It'll take several months to bring Parsley in. We're working on a transition team now. We're excited about Matt Gallagher, the CEO, becoming a director of Pioneer when this transaction closes. So we are done. We're excited about the new company and the new powerhouse.
Something else that on the call, pivoting off of what Guy was saying, is that you said that there are only 4 investable E&Ps, and you named specifically EOG, Pioneer, maybe Hess, didn't have Oxy on there. What made you say that?
Yeah, I had ConocoPhillips on there, Alix. There's basically 4 companies today that are over 10 billion market cap. Obviously, 2 of those just got larger with Pioneer and with ConocoPhillips buying Concho. And so it's really, when you talk to most investors today, they're only looking at companies that are investable at a 10 billion market cap. So the companies that are below 10 billion are going to have to merge up over time. And so I still think a lot of those companies have to delever with higher oil prices before they start combining. I still think we'll get down to just a handful of less than 10 independents in the sector over the next several years.
But you think the bigger companies, Scott, have done what they've got to do and probably won't do any more. There isn't a company out there that's going to do a series of roll-ups around the region, consolidating some of those smaller businesses. It's going to be smaller business kind of getting together with smaller business and gradually acquiring scale. I'm just kind of curious how long that takes.
Yeah, I still think you'll see more Devon WPX type mergers, but companies have to delever. Instead of taking a bad balance sheet and combining with a bad balance sheet, they will have to delever over time. Right now, as you know, being in London, the 3 European majors have changed their investment strategy. I really do not see them acquiring any U.S. companies at this point in time with their movement into alternative energy. Exxon and Chevron, it's really the key there is whether or not Chevron will continue to do other Noble type deals. I don't know. And a big factor is the potential change in administration. There'll be continued pressure on Exxon and Chevron to go the way of the 3 European majors in regard to alternative energy.
So let's talk a little bit about that, Scott. So the rumor on the street was that you were going to wind up selling yourself to Exxon. Now the rumor on the street is because since you bought Parsley, maybe in about 2 to 3 years, it'll be nicely accretive. You can go back to Exxon and say, guys, you need the acreage, you need what we can bring to you, you should buy us. Give me some insight into that conversation that the street's having right now.
I think Exxon long-term has got to decide, are they going to move strongly as the fossil fuel industry winds itself down over the next 30, 40 years? I've seen the forecast of IEA in their demand scenarios. Oil demand, we'll probably see peak oil demand in the next 10 to 15 years. We probably won't see many increases. But the key to Exxon, they're going to 1 million barrels a day. And so do they want another 1 million barrels a day in the Permian? So that's the unknown question. And whether or not they'll shift their strategy to more alternative energy. But our board at Pioneer will always do the right thing for our shareholder base.
Let's talk about that shareholder base, Scott. What do they want from you? We've talked to a number of CEOs over the last few days that these deals has been done, and there does seem to be a shift in the business model. It's more about returning excess capital to shareholders. It's that kind of change that is driving this narrative to a certain extent. Is that how you see the business model evolving as well as we approach the runoff period?
Yes, we're the first company to announce really a free cash flow model and a variable dividend model. And so, in fact, Parsley does that for us. It even helps us more from their accretion of free cash flow. And so we're going to get to a double-digit free cash flow yield fairly quickly. And we'll be investing only about 65% of our cash flow and returning the rest of it to our shareholder base. So they basically want free cash flow, and they want little to very minimal growth out of the U.S. shale industry.
Scott, there was a narrative also that for this deal, you were going to have to pay a lower premium because of the family relations between Parsley and Pioneer. Now that we've kind of gotten through that part, is your son, Bryan, going to have any responsibility at the new company? Can you give me some insight?
No, he will have zero responsibility at the new company, and he will be our largest single shareholder. He'll own about 2% of the combined company. Also, the CEO of Quantum, Will Van Loo, will own and control about 4% of the combined company. So they'll be two of our largest shareholders.